So the 2024 Oscars recently wrapped up. We know all the winners, and this is actually the first time I have sat down and actually watched the Oscars. And the main reason for that is because I've actually watched a decent amount of the nominees, enough for me to actually be interested in watching it and giving some decent predictions, unlike last year and literally every other year before that. So, yeah, it was very interesting. It was obviously long, but I was very intrigued, so it didn't feel that long for the most part. I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I just want to do a quick review of the Oscars, and then I'll go into some of my predictions and talk about where some of my predictions went wrong and how some of them went right. Okay, first thing I want to get out of the way is I do not like Jimmy Kimmel. I think some people are being too nice to him when they're talking about him, but I'm just gonna flat out say I've really fucking disliked the guy. I think he's really annoying. He's absolutely insufferable. And it seems like a lot of the audience members at the Academy Awards didn't like him too much either. It seemed like Jimmy Kimmel was just bullying Robert Downey Jr. for no reason, and you could tell that he was not very happy about it, but he was trying to just brush it off. Apparently, by the looks of it, Emma Stone called him a prick. It's not confirmed, but that's just what people are interpreting from her lips. And when he's not just being a complete asshole to actors, he is just undermining certain categories. Like, it kind of annoyed me when he made a joke about the animated film categories, saying that the kids are in charge of the nominations for that or something. Just completely undermining animation in general and making it seem like a low form of art, which, I mean, aren't we past that already? Are we really still in the mindset that animation is for children? Seriously. So, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel, I am not a big fan. He is the main thing that almost made me want to turn the Oscars off, because dealing with that guy for like 3 hours, that's kind of tough. But luckily, it wasn't the worst thing ever. He definitely wasn't as bad as that bald fuck who hosted the Golden Globes.
Oppenheimer is based on a 721-page Pulitzer Prize-winning book about the Manhattan Project. And Barbie is on a plastic doll with big boobies.
I honestly thought John Mulaney referencing Madam Web was funnier than literally anything Jimmy Kimmel said. But anyway, enough about the silly comedic aspects of the Academy Awards. What did I think of the awards themselves? Well, my favourite film of last year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, won fuck all. Also, the result for Best Actress in a Leading Role was quite shocking, but not terrible, not bad by any means, but I really wasn't expecting that result. Anyway, now let's take a look at how accurate my Oscar predictions were.
Thanks for having us over.
So in no particular order, let's compare my Oscar predictions to the real results. First of all, Best Picture. I predicted Oppenheimer would win, and it did win. No shocker there. Let's move on. Best Actor. I predicted Cillian Murphy would win, and he definitely did. Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Oppenheimer was definitely going to win a lot of the Academy Awards. It won 7 Oscars in total, which is more than any other movie, and it's no surprise at all. It is definitely the type of movie that the Academy would really like, and they definitely did. Again, Best Score, no surprise at all. It would have been crazy if it didn't win Best Score, because not only was Oppenheimer one of the best scores of the year, it might just be one of the best scores of all time. Robert Downey Jr. won the award for Best Supporting Actor in Oppenheimer, and yeah, no shocker there. I knew from the second the credits started rolling in Oppenheimer that Robert Downey Jr. had that Oscar locked in. We also can't forget that Christopher Nolan finally won an award for Best Director. Again, I predicted this. it was definitely going to be him. There was no reality where it wasn't. Definitely deserved. Oppenheimer was amazing. There was one Oppenheimer prediction I made that ended up being wrong, which was Emily Blunt winning for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Kitty Oppenheimer. The main reason why I predicted Emily Blunt was because I hadn't actually seen that many of the Best Supporting Actress performances that were nominated. And the ones I had seen, I just didn't think were going to win. Like, for example, there was no way in a million years America Ferrera was going to win for her performance in Barbie. I'm sorry, there was just not a chance. Carrie Mulligan in Maestro was good, but I just wasn't really expecting Maestro to win anything. I haven't seen The Holdovers, and that's the main reason why I didn't predict that Divine Joy Randolph would win Best Supporting Actress. But, I'm sure if I had seen that movie, I would have predicted her because I'm hearing nothing but praise. So, yeah, I just went out on a limb and guessed Emily Blunt because, it was a solid performance, but, yeah, probably not as good as Divine Joy Randolph. I confidently predicted that The Zone of Interest would win Best International Film, and I was absolutely correct. The Zone of Interest is a mind-blowing movie. It is one of the most thought-provoking films of last year, and just overall one of the best films of last year. To me, it was the only real competition with Oppenheimer when it came to Best Picture, because I feel like that is Best Picture material. Some people think it was the best film of the year, and I don't blame them for thinking that at all, because it is definitely one of the best things I've seen recently. I was also correct when I predicted The Zone of Interest winning Best Sound. Now, I was a bit frightened that Oppenheimer would win this category. The sound in Oppenheimer was not bad by any means. In fact, it was great, but I would have been super annoyed if that won Best Sound instead of The Zone of Interest, because The Zone of Interest uses sound phenomenally. Like, the sound is the best part of that movie, and also one of the most haunting uses of sound I've seen in recent years. Like, the sound is kind of what carries the movie. Without the sound, it wouldn't be nearly as impactful. I did hear someone say that you could view the movie with your eyes closed. Well, I guess view isn't the right word if your eyes are closed, but you can put the movie on, close your eyes, and you'll still get an effective experience. The sound is just that good. Alright, now let's talk about some Barbie. Now, I predicted Barbie would win Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, and I also predicted that I'm Just Ken from Barbie would win Best Original Song. Well, all of these predictions were wrong. Yes, a Barbie song did win Best Original Song, but it wasn't I'm Just Ken, it was What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. To be honest with you, I don't know what drugs I was on when I predicted I'm Just Ken winning Best Original Song when it was obviously going to go to What Was I Made For. It's just a way more well-received song, a much more impactful song that resonated with audiences much more than I'm Just Ken. Yeah, I'm Just Ken is a much more fun song, and I'd even say a much more replayable song. But in terms of like impact and meaning, What Was I Made For was definitely in the lead, even if I personally prefer I'm Just Ken because I am the ultimate Ryan Gosling glazer. So when Billie Eilish won the Oscar for Best Original Song, I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, while I was watching it, I knew she would win. So me making the prediction of I'm Just Ken winning was just me being in a very silly moment. Anyway, now let's talk about my prediction of Barbie winning Best Production Design. Now, Barbie lost to Poor Things when it came to Best Production Design, and honestly, that is not a huge surprise. Now that I think about it, Poor Things is stronger, and there's one big reason for that. A lot of Barbie takes place in the real world, which is really not that interesting to look at. I'd say that the real world parts of Barbie are the least interesting parts, which is a shame because the trailers made that section of the movie look like the most fun, but I digress. I love the whole look of Barbie Land in the Barbie movie, and if the entirety of the Barbie movie just took place in Barbie Land, then maybe it would have won the Oscar, but yeah, with the movie that actually happened and all the real world stuff, Poor Things was definitely in the lead. It had a very unique and jaw dropping production design from beginning to end. Every shot was like a masterpiece. You were just in awe through the entire thing, just looking at this strange, wacky world that we've never seen before. I mean, Barbie Land is cool and all, but it's nothing crazy. Like, we've seen it before in toys. Poor Things, it's like a whole new world. You can't even describe it really. So yeah, I do think Poor Things did kind of deserve production design over Barbie, even though I predicted Barbie would win. Anyway, now let's talk about my prediction of costume design going to the Barbie movie. I was wrong, and yes, it lost to Poor Things again. And yeah, I think this is fair. I mean, I think they're both equally pretty great. Uh, the Barbie movie mainly just recreated a bunch of costumes you'd see on a Barbie doll, whereas Poor Things was a lot more original, which I guess it deserves more points for, maybe. But it was really interesting to see the Barbie movie bring those dolls to life, and the costume designs did play a huge role in that. So overall, do I think Poor Things deserved it more than Barbie? I wouldn't say it deserved it more. I think they're both really great with the costume design, and that aspect is one of the standouts when it came to the visual appeal of the movies. So yeah, those two awards could have gone to Barbie, and I would have felt the same way as I do now with them going to Poor Things. Anyway, while we are on the topic of Poor Things, it actually won a lot more awards than I was expecting. It came in second place for most Academy Awards won this year, obviously Oppenheimer being first place. One of the awards that I predicted Poor Things would win that it didn't was Best Adapted Screenplay. And okay, I'm not surprised that I got this prediction wrong because I can't really make a fair judgment on this category without checking out all of the source material of all the nominees. And I haven't really looked into the source material of any of these nominees, which is why when American Fiction won, I didn't really have much of a reaction to it. I was just like, okay, I guess. But the main reason why I guessed Poor Things and nothing else was because I heard that the feminist themes weren't really very present in the novel. So just with that information, I assumed that the film was an improvement from the novel because it used those feminist undertones more to its advantage. But I guess not. I guess American Fiction was the best adapted screenplay, which, yay, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, since we're talking about adapted screenplays, the biggest snub at the Oscars is the fact that Kills of the Flower Moon did not even get nominated in this category. That is absolutely ridiculous, especially since Barbie got nominated in this category. Barbie is not an adapted screenplay. It is not even based on anything. It's based on the Barbie doll, and that's about it. That is not enough for it to be classed as an adapted screenplay. It is an original screenplay. Since I've mentioned Kills of a Flower Moon, I predicted that movie would win Best Editing. And the main reason for this is that the movie is very long. I watched it in cinemas on the big screen. Luckily, I didn't have the urge to piss because that would have really dragged the experience. But the movie honestly didn't feel that slow. It was a smooth interesting experience. And when the credits started to roll, I was almost shocked that it had ended because it really did not feel like 3.5 hours. And that is the main reason why I predicted it would win Best Editing. Having a movie that long and it feeling like just an average length movie is very impressive, and that is down to the editing, of course. But unfortunately, it didn't win Best Editing, but Oppenheimer did. Now, this isn't a huge surprise. Oppenheimer was winning everything, and the editing in Oppenheimer is undeniably really great. It's also a pretty long movie, 3 hours, and it doesn't feel that long. I watched it twice in the cinemas and once at home, and all three times it was a very intriguing, captivating experience that didn't feel dragged at all, which, you know, I appreciate a lot, and you've got to give it credit for that. But I'm just upset that Kills of a Flower Moon didn't win that, especially since Kills of a Flower Moon didn't win anything at the Oscars. Lily Gladstone didn't even win Best Actress, and I thought she had that locked in. I thought she was definitely going to win, but no, she lost to Emma Stone. In my Poor Things review, I did say that I want Lily Gladstone to win, but I wouldn't be upset if Emma Stone won. And low key, I'm kind of upset about it. I was really rooting for Lily Gladstone, and it would have been really cool to see the first Native American win an Oscar, especially since it's an actress who hasn't really been in that many popular movies. I think that would have just been really great to see, especially since Emma Stone already has an Oscar. She got one a few years ago, and she's a very famous actress, and she's likely to get more Oscars in the future, I'd say. So, yeah, it's not the worst snub in the world because, you know, Emma Stone's performance was undeniably fantastic. But I would have really preferred to see Lily Gladstone get that award, and I was really expecting her to get it. But oh well, it's not the end of the world. Oh, something I forgot to mention about Poor Things is that I did predict that it would win Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and I was right. I'm a genius. But then again, I did also predict that Poor Things would win Best Cinematography, and I was wrong yet again. Oppenheimer beat it, of course, and fair enough. Oppenheimer is a really great movie to look at. Very well shot, very chef's kiss. Mwah. But you know, Poor Things, it had that uniqueness to it. Maybe that deserved it more than Oppenheimer. Not gonna lie, every shot in that movie I would gladly put on my wall. So yeah, but oh well. And then there's the Best Animated Feature winner, which is definitely one of the most controversial winners of the entire show this year. And that's because Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse didn't win, but The Boy and the Heron did. Now, I did mention this earlier on in the video. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was my favourite movie from last year. Not just favourite animated movie, but just favourite movie in general. Yes, I even have it above Oppenheimer. I just think it was really great. One of the greatest animated achievements ever. Overall, really solid in terms of story as well. But I won't yap about that too much. So yeah, The Boy and the Heron. A movie I watched on the big screen. I was really looking forward to it. I like Hayao Miyazaki's other movies. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a few of them, like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service. All really, really great movies. Some of them I'd consider favourites of all time. But The Boy and the Heron just wasn't as good as Spider-Verse, in my opinion. I also don't think The Boy and the Heron is one of Miyazaki's best films. I think there are definitely better ones than that, and he deserved an Oscar for other movies more than The Boy and the Heron. Like, it's kind of crazy that Howl's Moving Castle lost to Wallace and Gromit. Like, I love Wallace and Gromit as much as the next guy, but over Howl's Moving Castle, that's crazy. But I'm getting off track here. So, a lot of people predicted that Across the Spider-Verse would win Best Animated Feature, including myself, because it was definitely a top tier movie from last year, and many would say the best animated movie of last year, including myself, of course. But losing to The Boy and the Heron is not the worst thing ever. Just think, it could have lost to Elemental. It could be much worse. And it's not like Spider-Verse don't have another chance to win another Oscar, because they're going to have Beyond the Spider-Verse coming out soon, probably in a year or two. And The Boy and the Heron could like potentially be one of Miyazaki's final films. In fact, it was initially going to be his last, but I'm pretty sure he's making another one now, because this guy like retires every time he makes a new movie, and then he just shows back up again. The man just doesn't know when to quit. So, yeah, losing against The Boy and the Heron, definitely not the worst thing ever. I'm not that mad about it. I don't think it's a huge loss. I know the voice actor for Miles Morales isn't too happy about it. He tweeted saying that Spider-Verse was robbed. And I guess that's a fair opinion to have. I mean, I can understand why people would think that, because Across the Spider-Verse was such a great achievement. But, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter that much, because Godzilla Minus One won Best Visual Effects, and that's all that matters. This was the only award that got me jumping from my seat and giggling and cheering, because I was so glad this won. I did predict that Godzilla Minus One would win Best Visual Effects, but I still had my doubts because The Creator got nominated, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 got nominated, just a bunch of other movies with higher budgets than Godzilla Minus One, and yeah, just way more well-known movies that I think the Academy are more likely to go for, because a Godzilla movie has never been nominated for an Oscar. So the fact that the first one to be nominated for an Oscar also won one is really, really great, and I think they really deserve it. The fact that the movie looks so good on such a low budget isn't just impressive, but says a lot about how the industry treats money and how they just throw money at anything, and that they should use it a lot more wisely. Also, Godzilla Minus One overall was just one of the best films from last year, and it didn't get nominated for Best International Film, unfortunately, even though it should have been nominated, but whatever. I'm just glad it won something and got some recognition, because sometimes I worry that nobody cares about the movie, even though it's absolutely fucking fantastic. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up now, because this video ended up being a bit longer than I was hoping for and was expecting. So yeah, overall, the Oscars this year was pretty good. I'll probably watch it again next year. It all depends on if I watch enough nominees for it to really be interesting enough for me. I'm sure I'll watch a few. You know me, I watch movies. That's like the only thing I do with my life. Yeah, I'm done. Have a nice day. Goodbye.